can't respond, or, they say, I'm sorry, but unfortunately I'm so busy. But then the ones that are older than me, but still younger than the super, super high-end professionals like Samantha Ponder, do reach out and, we'll get with you on Zoom. And I have a whole book full of notes that they've given me, and they've been super cool.
So I actually, I also interviewed Sarah Hodges too, if you know her, from California.
Okay.
Yeah, so she came on. But I mean, for my goal for my podcast, I opened the platform to everyone. Everyone is welcome to come on my platform. That's why I have a high success rate with these interviews, and because I tell them what's my goal for you guys, just explain your life journeys, and I'm just inspired to see even you and the other women reporters working hard, and you guys still don't get recognition. So that's why if I open my platform, especially for women, they can explain their stories, and when I send it out on social media, when people see it, then they'll be amazed about you for everyone's work that you
100%. Agreed.
So,
I agree with that 100%.
Because I feel like this is for me. It's not about the numbers. For me, it's about the people's story.
Yeah. Well, which is good too, because, a lot of people, when, we're in journalism, so everyone harps content, harps views and likes and things like that. But sometimes it's not even really all about that. Like, yes, good content gets good feedback, but at the same time, it's also the relationships that you're building when you're creating that content. Yeah. So I agree with that.
So take me back to your first coverage with the Minnesota Twins, and how grateful are you that they're giving you this opportunity? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I am forever grateful for them, because when when I was introduced to them, I was 21, I think.
Wow.
I had no experience. I had a degree in sports broadcasting and journalism under the communications umbrella at Grand Valley State, which is here in Michigan. And I had a job. I had multiple jobs when I was in college, because I had to pay bills. So a lot of the jobs here that were broadcasting jobs or working for the news network were free, because it was interning. Right. So I was lucky enough to intern with my current job that I had already had. I was a full-time personal assistant for a professional photographer, doing her marketing, photography, and things like that. So still things that we do now, like with social media and stuff, but it wasn't on the broadcasting side. So I was really lacking in experience when it came to that. I didn't have I didn't have content. My Twitter was like, I never used my Twitter. I was I had the degree. That's all I had. And so, I was struggling. I got my first job out of college, which had nothing to do with sports. It was just a job that paid really well. And I took that job to save money, because obviously in sports, you don't make a lot of money starting off. So I literally one day started looking at job fairs that they were having in the U.S., not only just in Michigan, because I knew that if I wanted to be with a bigger organization like the Twins, I had to move, and I had to go outside of the state. So I started looking up job fairs, and one had come up in Pittsburgh. And so I took a Friday off work, and I literally drove to Pittsburgh and I just showed up. It was at a college. It was at Robert Morris University. I did not know anyone. It was a lot of students that were looking for summer internships. They all knew each other. I didn't know anyone. Obviously I was fully graduated. I had a degree. So I was just kind of I didn't feel like I was in my element, because I'm okay, I'm not looking for a summer internship. I'm looking for a full-time job. And a gentleman had approached me and said that, I had really good people skills. And, my name tag said I was from Michigan. So he was like, did you drive all the way here? And I was like, yeah, I'm staying at a hotel, and then I'm going to drive back tomorrow morning. And he was like, wow, you seem really motivated. You have great people skills. I love your look. Let's talk. So then I got home the following day, and we ended up discussing over the phone. I was very real. I'm very a straightforward person. I say what I want. I say look, this is what I want to do, but I'm super lacking experience. So if there's any way you can help me, I'm willing to do the work if you can just point me in the right direction. And then he pointed me in the direction, which would have been the Twins in Florida with the spring training organization. So they had actually were revamping their whole staff, and they needed someone to come in and play kind of wear multiple hats and do multiple roles, which was something I was interested in because then I knew I could build my resume in multiple fields. So what I was doing for them was part of my job was selling. So I had to, make revenue for them by selling spring training tickets and suites and doing things like that. And I did that kind of during the week before spring training had even started because I had gotten to Florida in January. And then once spring training started in February, I was their in-game host. And that was like, honestly, the funnest time I've ever had. It was so great until COVID came and like ruined everything. But it was like such like a high, like, so the first game, it was actually, it was a night game, 6 p.m. They were actually playing the college, University of Minnesota, just to like kind of get prepared for the following game. And it was freezing even for me because I had already like, my body was already in Florida temperature. So it was like 60s and it was super cold, but they still had a lot of fans. And it was a night game, so I got to be under the lights. And it was just a great overall experience, like being in front of the crowd, having the mic, being able to talk to people, interacting with the crowd. It was just a great overall experience. And then I obviously did that through March until March 15th, our game was canceled due to COVID. So that's where we're at now.
Yeah, so actually, I'm going to name you a few of the some baseball reporters that I had on to see if you looked up to them.
Okay.
I interviewed Jenny Kovnar from the Rockies. I interviewed Taylor McGregor from the Cubs, and I interviewed Alana Rizzo from the Dodgers. And I'm a Yankee fan, so I'm still trying to get Meredith Morakovich on the show. That's so far no luck there, but. So how do you? So
hey, keep trying.
Yeah. So I interviewed. Yeah. So those three people who I just said I interviewed. Did they give you any advice, Jenny? Or
so there is one. I'm gonna look on my phone really quickly. That really gave me a lot of advice, and she is out in California. I'm trying to remember. I talked to so many girls in like the March, April time. That I can't really remember her name. What was the last one that you said? I'm sorry.
Oh, so I interviewed Taylor McGregor from the Cubs, Alana Rizzo from the Dodgers, and Jenny Kavnar from the Rockies.
Yeah, I think it was Alana from the Dodgers. They were really great. They kind of explained to me, I was kind of at first like hesitant to take the job because I'm not a huge baseball fan. Right. So I did reach out to girls that worked in baseball. A lot of them were with the Dodgers and they were in California. I remember because our Zoom times were very weird because of their 3-hour time difference. But they just kind of explained to me how, each job is like a stepping stone to get you to somewhere else. And like, they were 100% right. And I wasn't going to ever say no because it was the Twins. And I was super fortunate because usually, you start with a very, very small team, and you work your way up. And so obviously now that I have that on my resume, that helps me moving forward. But yeah, they've all been great.
So let me get to the Twins team now. Obviously, 60-game sprint now. I'm sure you're. Wait, first of all, let me ask you this: are you covering them still from your home, or?
I am not.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. Unfortunately, no. Because of COVID, they cut back on everything. So as of right now, I'm just doing freelance stuff like you, kind of.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: so when you were covering them in spring training, what was it like seeing these young players and even the veteran players that have Nelson Cruz, Josh Donaldson, Brian Buxton? Man, that lineup is loaded, and plus the pitching is really good. And what was that like covering the high caliber team? And right now they're playing great baseball. They're fighting for a playoff spot, I think. So what's it like seeing them improve from last year? And what do you think of Rocco Baldelli as their manager?
So I live in Michigan, so you know that I'm stuck with the Tigers. So really, the person that I've been like obviously watching has been Cabrera my whole life. So it was different coming into a team that was actually good. Obviously, I have the Tigers and I have the Lions and I have the Pistons. So, growing up, and the Pistons were great when I was young, but they haven't been for a while. And the Tigers and the Lions, and we won't get into the Lions. But football is my favorite sport, so we just want to go
welcome
there.
back NFL, finally back tonight. So
Amen. I should have put my Cam Newton jersey on, but it's a Panthers jersey. I haven't upgraded yet.
You can still do that now if you want.
Literally, I wish I had it with me. Like I said, I haven't upgraded to the Patriots uniform yet. It's still a Panthers, and I don't really want to be a Patriots fan, so I'm like, maybe I'll just keep the jersey I have. But no, it was actually a really good experience. It was a great experience, actually. Coming in, I was a rookie. So, I'm coming in. I wouldn't say I was really timid or intimidated because I just don't have that type of personality. I was more just like, teach me everything I need to know. But wow, it was great. So like you have, every single game almost selling out. So that was a big difference because it was the difference between me reporting in front of, 1, 2, 3,000 people versus 10, 11, 12,000 people. And that's a big difference just when it comes to your anxiety, when it comes to like being in front of so many people and, talking on the mic. And also like the players were great. I didn't talk to them much just because the manager told me I wasn't allowed to talk to them or, have relationships with them, which was totally fine. That's not what I was there for. Right. But we did talk to them sometimes, if it was just I was on the field, whether it was, interviewing, outside of interviewing, I didn't talk to them much personally. But when I did, they were great. They were super nice and very humbling, down-to-earth people, especially Josh. I just remember him because I did a lot of things by the third baseline, and he was always talking to either the fans that I had brought with me for like an event or a game or anything, and he would always, get a picture with them or shake their hand. So that was super fun. And then, dealing with the younger players, that was also great as well. A lot of them were super cool with me. I even started a YouTube channel a little bit ago and was interviewing some of the very, very young players. And they were super cool. They're so funny. Like I would talk to one and then one would text the other and then be like, oh, hey, like I just did an interview with Brittany. Like you should jump on her YouTube channel. And like, these are, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. I mean, the youngest one I did was, I think I interviewed him a couple days after his 18th birthday. They're super young. They don't know what they're doing. And, me, I feel like I'm super young in the industry as well because I am. So to me, I was always like, before I started interviewing them, I would make them feel comfortable. Like, hey, like, you're going to be a big time baseball player one day. Like use me as practice. I'm going to use you as practice. And we're just going to go from there. And they loved it. So it was great. I think that, when I did work there, everyone thought, they're going to go all the way. I think we still do. So, hopefully they go far and, maybe even, win a championship, but we'll see. It's hard because of they're only playing 60 games and they took a huge break. So we'll see.
Yeah. So before we get to your freelance stuff, I want to talk to you about, speaking of Detroit sports. I interviewed Isaiah Thomas last month on my show for my 25th birthday, and that took me 4 months to get done. So his daughter helped me out to get the interview done, and I was just honored for him to come on the show.
That's awesome.
Especially for my 20th. Yeah, thank you. So speaking of Detroit sports, what has Isaiah Thomas meant to the city of Detroit in your?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Well, that's funny you say that. So I had just went to my mom's house because I am in Michigan. I'm trying to spend, as much time with my family as I can since I was gone. And I went into her house the other day and she had like a pennant flag. Mm-hmm. It was like an old school pennant flag, Isaiah Thomas signed and everything. And it was like in her closet, like no one could see it. And like she opened the door and it was like hanging on the door. And I go, what is that? And she's like, Oh, it's just like my grandma was a huge Pistons fan, and she passed away from breast cancer, but she's
Sorry.
the reason that yeah, I'm in sports. Like she literally brought me to my first Pistons game when I was like 8, and she's like, yeah, it's like it's one of your grandmas, and I'm like, can I have that? And she's like, do you want it? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna frame it. Like that is like so cool. But I think that when it comes to Detroit, I don't live in Detroit. I actually live on the west side, so I'm 2.5 hours away. Detroit's a funny one. I think that, where I live, a lot of people are moving from Detroit into Grand Rapids because it's up and coming, it's safer, it's, more family oriented. But when it comes to Detroit, I think they always have this, they always have hope that, it's like these Lions fans and these Pistons fans that just like they always come out, they always support, they always represent, even though they have a losing season almost every year. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, Isaiah Thomas being, the phenomenal athlete that he is, brings, hope to the city of Detroit. And so that, the fans can have something to think about when, they're COVID or going to work or not working or unemployed or whatever they are. Sports is what everyone's looking forward to right now because no one's doing anything else. And, so when it comes down to it, I think that if anything, he brings hope because he was such a great player, and that they keep rooting for the teams. Just, hopefully they'll get better one day. Yeah. The saying in Detroit, there's always next year. So it's kind of the rolling statement that everyone talks about. So
yeah, so I'll send you guys my Isaiah Thomas interview so you can check it out.
That would be awesome. Seriously, yeah. Send that over. I would love that.
Yeah. So my next question for you, now getting to what you're doing now during this COVID. So have you considered doing like a podcast like what I'm doing?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Would you have you considered doing a podcast like what I'm doing and during this COVID and like bringing on people on your show, probably interviewing them and seeing how they're doing with the COVID situation?
Yes. Okay, that's a great question. I was super eager to respond, which is why I almost cut you off. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yes. So I have actually thought about it many times. So I have thought about doing it alone. And then I've had so many people reach out to me wanting to do it with me. I don't know if that's because I'm a female in sports. I don't know. I've had a lot of them say like, we want to use you as our face of the podcast. I've had so many people reach out to me via Instagram and Twitter. Right after you had posted up today that we were doing this, I had another podcast reach out to me on Twitter, wanting me to come on because I was a girl in sports. And my issue right now is that because of COVID, my living situation is kind of crazy right now. I'm kind of going back and forth, and then my main place here in Michigan is being completely revamped, and it's completely under construction. So I feel like if I would want to do it, like I want to do it all out, and like I've seen a lot of girls that have started podcasts have like sports backgrounds and backdrops, and they've got their whole like shebang set up, and that's how I would want to do it too. And I just think that I need to wait a little bit longer until I get my living situation down, wherever that may be, and then set up like a little thing where I can do it. I don't know. I'm picky. I'm like OCD about that. And like, I can never do anything like half-assed. And like, I'm going to do it. I want to do it all out. And like, I want to make sure everything's the same every time. Like, I want to have like a set backdrops, like set station. And like, right now I don't have that because, where I'm staying here is, like I said, under construction. And I might be moving to a totally new state soon. Right. So I have no idea what I'm doing. So I've kind of put a pause on that for right now.
No, that's good because you know what? It's always good to be, especially when being in the sports industry, you have to be perfect. I mean, obviously you don't have to be perfect, but it's good to have some kind of
consistency.
Yeah, consistency. like for me, for example, I have my trophy case in the background. That's what I like to use when I do interviews.
Yeah, and I've noticed that, and I think that's good that you're creating consistency and you're doing the same thing for every single interview, which like also gives you like you chose that for a certain reason, and like that's part of you. And so like with me, I'm like I'm seeing a lot of women that have been setting up things. They've got lights, and like I have the light, I have the ring light, I've ordered the mics off Amazon, like I've done all that. I just like don't have a set station yet, and so until then, like I've just decided to put it on pause. And I had tried to continue my YouTube channel when I had come back from Florida, but then that was also tricky because my station was in Florida. And then when I was coming to Michigan, the backdrop was completely different, and I didn't really like that. So I did like maybe 2 or 3 more in Michigan, and then I put a pause on that too because I was like, I liked what I was doing down there better. So I'm just gonna wait. So yeah.
So whenever you get your things situated, I'm gonna reach back out to you later on in the future. So I would like to have you. I would like to partner up with you with this podcast. Actually, with my podcast. So I would like to have you. I would like to have you as a co-host.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So
that would be awesome.
Once you get everything situated, I mean, obviously we'll still be in contact.
For sure.
You're building connections, but once you get everything situated, then I'm going to consider you first as my co-host.
That's awesome. That would be great. Once I get that all figured out, I will definitely reach out.
Because I'm at this point, I think I'm gonna start considering having another person with me, because with I've done over 500 episodes during this pandemic, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've been hustling.
Well, that's good. You've been staying busy. You're not like that's good. Like you're not a couch potato, just like eating and not doing anything. That's like people love to see that. So that's great.
Yeah, and then so before we get to the NFL games, and I mean only one NFL game tonight, but what was your reaction when Adrian Peterson signed with Detroit?
Say that again. I'm sorry. You kind of went out.
What was your reaction when Adrian Peterson signed with Detroit?
Yeah, I did see that on Twitter. Like I'm just gonna keep going with the whole thing. It's hard for me. I am so terrible because I really should rep my city more. I'm really bad at that. I am not a Lions fan. I hate losing, and my poor father watches the Lions every Sunday, and it's like at the end of every game, he's like in a bad mood. Wow. And I'm like, why do you do this to yourself? And he's like, I don't, because I don't know if you watch a lot of Lions games. You probably don't.
I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. So.
Oh, okay. Then I'll have to tell you about my new opportunity that I have because it involves the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah, I don't think you would watch the Lions if you're not from Detroit. But they typically lose in the fourth quarter. They'll be winning the whole game, or they'll come back and then last 10 seconds they'll blow it. And so my dad's like in such a great mood, and then he's in a bad mood after they lose, and that's a weird one. I guess I'm not really, I don't know. I guess I don't have any feeling towards it because I'm just not a Lions fan. So I'm just like, it is what it is type of thing. I don't know. That's a bad answer, but sorry.
No, what does your father think about it?
I actually haven't talked to him yet. He is a business owner and owns many businesses. And so I could go days without talking to him, unfortunately. But I am going to see him tonight. So that was something that I was going to bring up and see what he thought about it. So to be continued on that one.
All right. So before you tell me what's your new opportunity, I want to ask you about tonight's game. What do you expect? Obviously, the Chiefs will have some fans in there, I think, 22% capacity fans. And also, there's going to be a different feel, obviously, unique situation. And do you feel like some of these stadiums will not have fans, obviously, for Sunday's games? Do you think the road teams will say that this is a good thing? We can potentially have a good game also on the road.
I had never thought about it like that. That's a good way to put it. I think that I think it would definitely give the road teams more of a chance, just because, I mean, the atmosphere when they're in a home game and the home team, everyone's going crazy and it's all about them. In a way, it's still obviously about the home team because, you know, you have the graphics, you have the boards, you have, you know, the electronic stuff. And then when you're watching it on TV, of course, you know, you see more of that than you do at the field, just because you are watching it on TV. But I think you're right. I think that gives to the road team's advantage, just because they can be more focused on just the other team and not have to deal with everything that comes with, you know, going to an away game.
So what do you expect about tonight's games with the Chiefs and Texans? And obviously both teams are talented. They improved a lot this offseason. But the Texans obviously lost one of their best receivers to the Cardinals. But I feel like their offense is more explosive from last year. Not only for me, when it comes to superstar players, it doesn't have, I don't think one player gets you over the hump. Everybody has to get
I agree.
over the hump, in my opinion. So I don't think DeAndre Hopkins will be a big of a loss because I feel like they got enough weapons. They got David Johnson, looks healthy, so I think he'll be better. So and then on the Chiefs side, man, this team, they have basically they have the talent to repeat again. So what are your thoughts on them, these two teams tonight?
I think that first of all, it's a great matchup for NFL being back. I think that they did well putting the schedule together when it comes to, you know, just everything that's been going on, sports being canceled, and, you know, the huge question of if there was even going to be an NFL season. And I think that they did well putting, you know, these two great quarterbacks together. I mean, I'm going to be watching, and I'm not even a Chiefs or a Texans fan at all, but I'm just going to be watching just because it's you know, if we're just talking QBs, it's two super talented, super young QBs. And I think, I think they're going to be fighting until the end. I really do. If I had to go with one, I think Mahomes is going to come out on top on this one just because, you know, he's coming off of a Super Bowl, the biggest contract ever known to man. And then, you know, he's got all that hype surrounding him. And, you know, when you think about it, the last game that he played was a Super Bowl. Like, he has all the confidence in the world right now. And I think to come back tonight and take the win, I don't think anyone's expecting anything less from him.
Yeah, so speaking of these two quarterbacks, do you see what SportsCenter tweeted earlier about the combined money between these two quarterbacks?
I did not.
They're going to make $633 million combined.
So I'm doing the wrong thing, essentially. So essentially I need to be doing something else because I'm not making that much money.
that is crazy.
That is awesome.
With Mahomes' money he got, and then now the Watson. See, I'm really concerned as a Cowboy fan because Dak Prescott, he's a great quarterback, and
he is.
I'm hoping he can take the next level with the new coaching staff and Mike McCarthy, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do on Sunday against the Rams. And but I think Dak Prescott, he's not I'm not going to say he's Mahomes. Obviously, he's not Mahomes or Watson. I feel like that he's in the second-tier quarterback. So I obviously he's going to get his money, but I just don't know because if the Cowboys do believe in him, he could have got paid already. I think this is showing the way that the Cowboys believe him in now because I feel like they're not 100% sold on him. This is why it's taking so long with the contract extension. So, what is your thoughts on that? And do you think they can re-sign him, or do you think he'll find another home?
You know, I think they should, but that's just me personally. I think that, you know, because he's still young.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's young, he's healthy, and I just personally think that they should re-sign him just because he's been with that team, you know, and they haven't done that poorly. So I think, you know, if you're talking about, you know, let's say with the Chiefs, right? So they're the Super Bowl champs. They can only technically do worse this year unless they repeat. You know, when it comes to the Cowboys, they can really only go up.
Mm-hmm. So
that's a weird one for me. I don't know why that they are taking so long with that personally. That's just how I feel about it. Because I think young, healthy, good quarterbacks don't come around every day. You know, and I think that I personally think he is a good quarterback. I agree with you. I don't think that he is a Mahomes, and I don't think, you know, but I do think that he is on the better side of quarterbacks if we're breaking them down.
Yeah. So like obviously, like I said, I told you I'm a big Cowboy fan. I'm really concerned, but I don't. I really like Andy Dalton as a backup. So that was a great signing for us. But I want to get to your like you said you said you have a new opportunity coming up soon for the
Yeah.
Cowboys. So if
I
you
know
can,
you were excited about that. So I will tell you. So it hasn't I don't know how to explain this.
has it come to
Without
fruition
like
yet?
giving it away. No, it's been offered to me and I have accepted. I just don't know when I'm going because of COVID. I will say that much. So I got a job opportunity with a TV sports broadcasting company in Dallas.
Oh, nice.
It's called D210 Sports.
Hmm.
Due to COVID, the Twins really, really helped me build my reel thus far. But I think that in order to get better opportunities, I need to continue to make more appearances. I need to be interviewing more than I am.
Yeah.
And because of the cutbacks with the Twins, that has come to a stop. So I was looking for new opportunities where I knew I could be in front of the camera a lot more.
Yeah.
And so D210 actually found me on social media, and I had reached out to them, and my boss over there was super great. And I reached out to him, and I was supposed to go down in the month of September, but because of college football being really questionable because they canceled the Big Ten season up here, I just wasn't comfortable to go all the way down there, and so it has been postponed until further notice. I don't know when that will be. I couldn't tell you if it's going to be next month or if it's going to be in 6 months. It hasn't been decided yet. But I will be reporting for D210, and I will be covering the Cowboys, the Mavericks, the Rangers, TCU football and basketball, and SMU football and basketball.
Wow.
I'll be a reporter for them. So I have a lot of Cowboy fans on my Twitter. So I haven't announced that yet, but I'm sure that when it is announced, my Twitter will go crazy because a lot of the guys that follow me on Twitter and a lot of them that like ask me to be on their shows and podcasts and stuff there, I know they're huge Cowboy Nation. So
Yep.
I think a lot of my fans will love that. So
Let's go. Congrats. That's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so that's why
And I've never been to Texas, so we'll see how this goes.
I never been to Texas either. So I'm from Jersey.
You've
So
never been to Texas, but you're a Cowboy fan?
yeah, no, because let me tell you a quick story.
Yeah, explain that.
So my father, he went to boarding school in Arkansas. So the only thing he watched was football. So he watched Texas football and Cowboys football. So my father basically brought me up as a Cowboy fan. So
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
And then
Well, you'll have to go one day. I heard the stadium is like crazy.
oh yeah, it's I need to go visit Jerry's World, I say. But yeah, hopefully soon I can get there. But I mean, I want to obviously my goal is to cover one of the games too. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I've heard nothing but great things about that stadium. I heard it's great. I
So,
haven't been there either, so this will be when I go down there. It'll be all new for me.
yeah. So if you don't mind, D210 Sport, how long was the process like with them?
So it was actually pretty easy. They were really, really cool. The guy that I had reached out to, so they found me on social media. And so I ended up looking up their page, I ended up following them, and I was like, this was like prime COVID time. Like I think it was like April or May. And baseball was still like there was nothing to be heard of. They didn't know if they were gonna have a season. They were going back and forth on, how much the players were going to get paid, if they were going to play, if they were going to not. And so the Twins kind of had us on like a fallback, like we were working from home. And so that's when I had reached out to a lot of the females in sports and gotten a lot of my notes and my things from them. And so I just shot my shot, really. I reached out to them on social media, and one of the interns handles their social media and just told me, hey, like I'm the intern that runs their social media page, but you need to reach out to my boss, and gave me his information and his email. And I reached out to him, and like I did with the Twins, I was very blunt. I was very straightforward with my situation. I just said that I currently work in baseball, which obviously we know was Well, I guess not essentially the first thing that was impacted, because I guess that was the NBA, but it was the next day after the NBA canceled, the MLB canceled. And so really like my life went from like 100% great to like completely flipped upside down, like taking pay cuts left and right, traveling back and forth to see my family all the time, not being able to work at the stadium because it was a COVID testing center. Like everything was just like negative, and I was just like, I was trying to figure out how like I could like prosper in this time, because I'm not trying to be negative, I'm not trying to sulk, like that's not going to do anything. So I'm like, okay, let me reach out to this company. They're in Texas. I've never been to Texas, but like we'll just try it. And I reached out to him and just said, hey, look, like baseball's really up in the air. Right now I currently work for the organization, and I would rather work for a station, because stations report on multiple teams that is in that city. So instead of just limiting myself to baseball, I was like, you're a station. I see all of the things that you cover on social media. You cover all the teams, plus you cover the colleges. And, I'm young. I'm willing to work my butt off. I'm willing to do the work. I'll put in extra hours. Like I want to do all the interviewing. Like I want to be at the event. So like this year it's really hard for them because they were not allowed to be at the Cowboys training camp. And they were not allowed to be obviously at the NBA bubble. So all their reporters are currently reporting from outside of the stadiums in Dallas. So their reporter right now literally stands outside of the football stadium and reports from there, because she's not allowed to be in there. Unlike last year, she was allowed to actually go into the training center. She was allowed to do one-on-one interviews with coaches and players. And that's just not something that they allowed this year, which was unfortunate. But I just was like, I'm a workaholic. Like send me to every event, any event. I don't even have to be reporting. I'll just go shoot for you because I have photography background. I'll take notes. Like I'll help the other reporters. Like I'll do whatever I need to do. And he was great. He had me fill out a form just explaining my experience and my past experiences with the Twins and with my prior job in college with the photography and the marketing, because I was in charge of all of her marketing, plus I ran all of her social media platforms, and they're very big on social media. So that was something he wanted to know. And then we talked on the phone, and he was like, if this move doesn't scare you, if this is something you're willing to do, like I'm more than happy to bring you on board. And he was like, so then I was like, great, like the move doesn't scare me. I had already moved from Michigan to Florida all by myself. So I was like, it's just another move, another city. And that's kind of how you have to do things in sports if you want to go anywhere. And he was great. He just was like, let me know when you find an apartment and, you can come on down. And then literally, I think 2.5 weeks later, I was looking for apartments that whole time. I had found one. My best friend was actually going to move down there with me. And then like 2.5 weeks later, the Big Ten canceled their football season, which I didn't know, if any other, if the SEC, ACC, if any of the other, if they were going to cancel. So I had emailed him and I was like, look, like if they end up canceling and I don't get to cover, TCU and SMU, that's 2 less teams that I get to cover, then that's less for me to do. And it was so up in the air. Like the Big Ten just kind of like what we had thought was when the Big Ten canceled, everyone else was going to cancel, because, that's essentially what happened when the NBA canceled and the MLB canceled, then, everything was canceled. But that, it didn't happen like that. So it has been postponed just until we're allowed to do things. You can only do so many Zoom interviews with players. It creates better content when you're actually with them one-on-one. So until we can actually are allowed to be around them, I am just going to stay here for the time being. But yes, it was a really, really great and easy process. Like I would recommend, if anyone is doing that or currently in doing that, to just like be confident in yourself, but you also have to tell them what you want, because, moving is not easy. It's not cheap either. So especially me, like I was moving by myself again for the second time. And when you're moving to a totally new state, new city, and you have nobody but your job, your coworkers, and you have to make sure you and your employer are on the exact same page. Because if you get there and they're selling you something that you're not going to end up doing, you ended up moving for no reason, and then you don't like your job. And then when you don't like your job, your life isn't that fun. You know, you want to love what you're doing. So I think when it came with the Twins and when it came to Dallas and D210, I was very, very, we mapped everything out and made sure that it was exactly what I wanted to be doing in order for me to be like, in my head, okay, I'm going to leave my friends and my family, everything that I know, and I'm going to go do this. So it was a great process. They made it easy.
Do you think they consider like people that do sports podcasts also shows?
I would think they do. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't. Yeah, that would be something you would have to ask them. I came in more like pitching myself as like a reporter, like a sideline reporter, because so all the reporters are female as well.
Yeah.
So the company itself surrounds itself around women reporters and sideline reporters, which I liked because I was like, look, like I'm a young woman, and like I want to do this with you guys. Like this seems great. And I had reached out to all of the girls that currently work there, and I just asked them. I was like, hey, like I'm gonna be moving from Florida. Like, just be honest with me. Like, do you like your job? And they were like, yes, we love it. We love D210. They're great. This year kind of sucks because of COVID, but like that's not their fault. Right. And the girls were really welcoming. And they were like, if you need, one of them was like, when you get here, like if you need me to show you around, we can go get food and I can show you around the city. They were great. So that was something you would have to ask them. But I do know that all of their reporters are women, not saying that they don't hire men. I just don't know.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to seeing you there in Dallas. And
thank you.
I mean, you know who you remind me of right now? Laura Rutledge.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, all the women reporters I had on so far, I compared them to Laura Rutledge or Jamila Hill. So
awesome. Well, I'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah. So my next question for you here. So obviously what are your thoughts on the NBA season so far with this NBA playoffs and the NBA bubble? I really like what they're doing, but what are your thoughts? Obviously there's no home field advantage in the bubble, but what are your overall thoughts on this playoff so far?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of shocked. I think a lot of people thought that because the season had delayed and stopped and then restarted again. I had a lot of people on my Twitter, which obviously isn't news, like it's not censored. So there's fake news that goes through that every day. But I think that, what I was getting from my Twitter feed and the people that I have on there is that they were worried that the players weren't going to be competitive, simply just because, the season had stopped and they had they were not going to reopen it again. And then when they realized that they could, it has been so exciting to me personally. I have my pros and cons about the NBA just because I think the NCAA college basketball players try a lot harder because they're trying to go to the pros. And I think just overall college athletes are more competitive because, the NBA, they've got their money doing, well. And they kind of lose that drive because they've made it to the top of the top. But I am not going to lie. They have been so competitive.
Yep.
And I mean, the first game back in the bubble was in overtime.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? Like they're actually competing and they want to win. Even if people, some people are saying, oh, well, the season, games were cut out, so this season this title's not even going to matter. No, it's going to matter because they're playing and they're competing. So people can say, oh, whoever wins the NBA finals, like, okay, you won on COVID year, that doesn't really matter. Okay, it does. And those teams are still going to make money and that organization is still going to make money. So I think it's great. I think the bubble idea was a good idea. I wasn't so sure that it was going to work just because when they had come out with that, we didn't know like a lot of COVID-19 and how that was, how people were getting it. I mean, we still don't really know much. But I think the fact that, no one's tested positive, everyone's healthy. I think that they have made a great environment for the players. I think the online fans through Zoom or whatever they're doing is hilarious. My best friend did it. He was a Pelicans fan. And he did it on his little computer. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, it's this new virtual fan thing the NBA is doing. So I think the NBA did a great job, getting the fans to come to the game still. And then the playing, I've been shocked. I think that, they're actually competing, and, we've got Game 7 coming up between, Toronto and Boston.
I want Toronto in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Agreed. We're on the same page with that one. I think it's crazy. You see a lot of overtime games. You see a lot of big time players showing up to play. You're seeing a lot of buzzer beater shots. And I don't care what anyone says. I think that because of COVID and because they couldn't play, they're playing harder because they realized what it's like for the game to be taken away from them. And that's maybe something that the NBA needed so that they can compete and be more competitive in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I do this rapid fire segment with all my guests to come on the show. But before we get to that, so my friend, one of my friend's brothers, he plays on the Lakers, J.R. Smith, and
oh wow,
yeah, we're from Jersey. They live Tom's River here in Jersey. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Lakers, and do you think they can make it to the finals? And obviously, they still have to go through the Western Conference Finals, which hopefully I'm expecting Clippers-Lakers.
Yes, I agree. I'd have to agree with you 100% on that one. I do think that the Lakers are going to beat out the Rockets and move on. And I think that would be great for LA to have, the Lakers and the Clippers against each other. Just because I think California's been hit really hard when it comes to the virus. They're not allowed to do much, and then you got the wildfires now going on, and you just Cali in general has been going through it, I think, and I think it would be great just for the city, just to have that rivalry, like the Lakers versus the Clippers. Like, you haven't had that in a long time, and I think that I do agree with you. I think the Lakers will come out on top of that. I think the Lakers are gonna beat out the Rockets. I do. And I think the Lakers will be out the Clippers as well.
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of friends here in Michigan that are Lakers fans and would love to see them come out on top. I personally am not really a huge Lakers fan. If Toronto could go all the way, that'd be cool for me. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm a New York Knicks fan, unfortunately, here in New Jersey. But hopefully we can.
It's okay. I'm stuck. I'm over here stuck with the Pistons. So. Yeah. We're both in the same boat when it comes to that.
I'm really rooting for my friend's brother, J.R. Smith. So, because I've been really good friends with their family, and his brother went to the same high school as me, and so hopefully J.R.
Well, and I'm not against the Lakers. I just have never been a fan. But especially everything that happened, this year with Kobe, and maybe it'd be good for the Lakers to come out on top, and maybe that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Tribute to Kobe or something. I don't know.
So you ready for this rapid fire segment?
Yes. Give me 1 second because I want to make sure my computer's not going to die.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. I think we'll be good. I think it said I had 15 minutes left.
Oh, that's.
I didn't think this was going to go this long, but it's totally fine. I think we're good.
No, I don't really make it this long, but talking to you is really fun. That's
okay. Sorry.
No.
You could have just told me to shut up or something.
No, it's fun. No, this is what I like. I think the longer it goes, it makes it more entertaining.
Perfect. So so explain to me, how does this work?
So I'll give you questions. You have to answer quick.
Okay. What if I don't know the answer?
You say move on.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. God, I feel like I'm in high school. I think I'm in college. I'm doing a test.
No. This is anyway. I like to finish the show like this to people. Like I said, my goal is to keep people entertained now. So during this. Yes.
Okay, so if I don't know the answer, if I don't
just say pass. Yeah.
Pass. Got it. Okay.
All right, you ready?
Like Family Feud. Yeah.
All right. Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
Kevin Hart.
Favorite food?
Say that again?
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite memorable game that you covered?
Twins versus Detroit Tigers, because the Tigers were at the Twins and Cabrera actually came.
Actually, what are your thoughts on the 60-game sprint with all these rebuilding teams competing?
What's my thought on the 60-game? I'm confused.
Oh, sorry. What are your thoughts on the 60-game sprint of the baseball season and seeing all these rebuilding teams competing now, like the Orioles and the Blue Jays and Tigers even fighting for a playoff spot?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think that how they came about that, if you were going to ask me 3 months ago if they were going to play, I would have said absolutely not. The Players Association, just they couldn't and the MLB, they couldn't get their stuff together. And I would have thought they would have never came to an agreement to even play 60 games. Because it was supposed to be, 90 games, 100 games, 120 games, and it just kept dwindling down. And I'm like, oh my God, we're going to have none before they know it. And I think that it gives more teams like the Tigers and other teams that aren't as great more of a chance. Mm-hmm. So I know personally a lot of baseball fans also on my Twitter have, expressed that as well, that especially like my dad and, family members that are in Michigan, they're like, hey, like it kind of gives everyone a shot. Like, screw it. Like just throw them off and see who will do well.
So what are your thoughts? What was your reaction when the Brooklyn Nets hired Steve Nash as their next head coach, and obviously, and then Stephen A. Smith's comment saying it's a white privilege?
Stephen A. Smith, love that man. It's never a quiet morning without First Take. That's all I gotta say. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with Stephen A. Smith on that one.
Yes. Sorry to cut you off, but let me say this real quick. This would not happen if Kyrie and Katie didn't sign off. They obviously had a say in this. Kyrie and Katie. This was all based on relationships, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I love Stephen A. Smith. I do. I love his show. With Molly. I do watch it every morning if I can. That's a hard one for me because I don't like to get into politics when it comes to sports. Yeah. No, you're fine. I wouldn't talk about it if I didn't feel comfortable. But I think that that's a hard one for me because I think that politics are getting its hands on sports a lot more than it has in the past by far. When it comes to all the movements that's going on right now, and you got the presidential election coming up and just everything that's going on. And I always was like, if I wanted to talk politics, I would have been in news. And I chose a sports route. We have 5 minutes left on my computer. Okay. And I would have to say I disagree with that on Stephen A. Smith, but just personally.
All right, what was
relationships?
What was your most memorable interview you've done?
Shoot, that's a good question. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to answer it quickly. I would say Kuani Kavako. He was last year's first draft pick for the Twins, and he was drafted as a 16-year-old. And that was really cool just because he was super young, and he was their top draft pick, and he was great. Loved him. First one that came to my head, so we'll go with that one.
So the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers?
Yes, that's a good one. Thank you so much for everything that you guys have done. I know a lot of people have been counting on you guys for so many months, and you're human just like everybody else. And the endless hours that they're putting in, long days and nights with little sleep, doing whatever they can to make everyone happy. Thank you guys so much for putting in your time. We really appreciate it. I personally know someone that actually passed away from COVID, a family friend. And he was at the hospital for a long time, and he was taken very good care of until the absolute end. So I appreciate everything that they're doing for everyone that is still sick, and hopefully, they're getting better soon.
Yeah, man. So 2020 has been horrible, and I just want this year to be over with. And
Amen.
Me and my friends, we lost a good friend like 5 days ago in a motorcycle crash. So we're still mourning over that.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So I just want 2020 to be over with and move on to the next year.
Amen. Actually, it's funny you said that. Right before our interview, I just found out one of my friends from college died in a car accident yesterday. So I guess we're on the same page with that.
Sorry.
So,
but
we just need to move on to next year. Agreed.
So thank you, Brittany Bowen, for coming on today on this podcast and our edition. You're amazing talent. Keep up the great work. Congrats on your new opportunity. And obviously, we're going to be connected. And I'm going to reach out to you in the future, near future. Once you get situated, I'm gonna make sure that you become my co-host on this show. And also, I'll send you this interview. I'll post it on all social media formats, and I'm gonna send you my Isaiah Thomas interview, and
Yes.
I'll send you actually a couple of my other friends' podcasts so you can check it out. And Global K Media, the one I just mentioned to you before. So
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show.
anytime. All right.
All right. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.